Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna talk about self-stereotyping. I'm Rita and today it's all about you. Self-stereotyping is when an individual integrates a commonly held characterization of a group into their own self-concept or self-perspective. It is some kind of specification of some group that a person can identify with and can adopt for herself. Really, next to self-stereotyping definition, we have to talk about the social identity theory that really introduced the concept of social identity, which explain the intergroup behavior and help us to understand the social interactions that exist inside a certain group, but with an individual perspective. All of us, in all of our lifetime, we are constantly surrounded by stereotypes. And maybe we don't really stop to think about all of these experiences that we have every day. They are a part of our identity. They define different identities like age, gender, race, culture, and so on. And for this kind of identities exist a really specific negative stereotype. The most common stereotype that are present in our education since early days, it involves gender identity. And we all know and hear for a long time that girls like the color pink and play with dolls, and boys like the color blue and play with balls, cars, and so on. And this is so deep in certain cultures, or in the majority of the cultures, that really had an influence since the early days of each child. And this stay for the rest of our lives, between school, in our cognitive development, the choose of a career, and until the end of our lives, when we have also stereotypes related to old people. These external stereotypes that we have in society, it really creates your own self-stereotype in yourself that can really manage what you should do and what kind of behavior you should have. And this is very visible and even expected in many ways, and I will give you just one example: that men choose a much more scientific career in the mathematics fields, and women should seek the social field. And this is something that it's really cutting our freedom and really having negative effects in what we think we want, and even in our motivation and in our pursuit for our goals in life. We can also see in many cultures this kind of stereotype society and thinking that actually is a threat for each individual, when in so many cultures and so many societies it's not giving the same opportunities to both genders, for instance, and it's really start to happen to be self-centered in some kind of cultures. They are the individuals that really self-stereotyping themselves. And of course, this results in a fear of doing something that we really want. And we don't, because the stigma of a negative effect is really big in the group that we belong. This can really affect our intellectual ability, our cognition, lead by a very low self-concept and self-image, and really end in a very low self-esteem. All of these effects in our own mind, in our mental state, really affect us and bring our motivation in a very low level, our resilience to these eventually new experiences, and our resistance to the manipulation of others. A very recent analysis of several studies and theories revealed that this stereotype threaten related in the intellectual domain really allows different kinds of manipulation, particularly in ethical groups of a certain society. It's very common to see stigmatized individuals to have really issues with anxiety that cloud cognitive behavior, and in the end really confirms that kind of stereotypes. But there are ways to cope with this kind of social pressure and this kind of manipulation and threat. And the first one is the creation of role models that can define these stereotypes, shift self-perspectives to positive groups identity and self-affirmation. Tell and show to everybody that making things different doesn't have to end in a big fail. Make or stimulate the individual to motivate them to have experiences that may be stereotype and defying themselves. It's not the same that fail. So it's important that we can motivate and change this kind of self-stereotype idea in a way that all of us could try new things and could do things that we really want to do. And so that's all for today, guys. I hope you like it. I hope you subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up, share with a friend, comment if you want, and I'll see you next time for another video. Bye!